Michael, there's been a sense of inevitability about these teams crossing paths since they met in the All-Ireland Minor Final of 2006. Indeed, between them, they dominated the grade at that time for 4 years, which was a stage when Galway's current goalkeeper, Colm Callanan, was biding his time, waiting for senior recognition. In front of him today is a full back line marshalled by a club colleague at Kinvara, 26-year-old Shane Kavanagh, the Galway captain. No change at half-back as Tony O'Gregan is joined by Donal Barry and David Collins. In midfield, David Burke has served a one-match suspension and resumes his partnership with Ger Farragher. The half-forward line is restructured with recalls today for Éanna Ryan, and as you heard, a late call-up for Kevin Hayes, who joined forces with number 12 Andy Smith. And up front, a full forward line ripe with potential as Joe Canning and Dear Latanian link up with the in-form Damien Hayes. Here's Michael Dignan.
Yeah, the lads were talking about Joe Canning in the studio. He to me is the key man today for Galway, as he probably always is, but I think he's been marginalised a bit this year. He was poor in the Leinster final, he'd be disappointed, but he was good against Offaly both days. Back at full forward today, creates a lot as well as scores, and I think there's a very big game in Joe Canning today.
Let's wait and see. Anyway, in the blue corner, it's a significant day in the career of Tip's Brendan Cummins. He's set to play his 60th championship match, and today he's fronted at full back by Paul Curran after the team management adjusted the structure since the match against Cork. Declan Fanning and Pádraig Maher, who had been chosen at number 3 in this year's championship, now share the half-back line with Conor O'Mahony. There's a second match in a row at centre field for Brendan Maher and David Young. The half-forward blend includes another Maher, Patrick, flanked by Garrow O'Brien and Shane McGrath, while the full-forward line is truly star-studded with Noel McGrath linking up with All-Ireland winners Lar Corbett and Owen Kelly. Michael.
Yeah, again, Jaron, having a look at the full-forward Lar Corbett. Last year, to me, he was absolutely outstanding all year, but this year, he's just not maybe firing on all cylinders. He's the big goal threat in there with his pace, and you know I think they'll need a goal or two from him today if they're going to beat Galway.
Thanks indeed, Michael. Well, when these two teams meet in a major match, it's usually a high-scoring game, a real hurling shootout, and it's coming up shortly on the Sunday Game Live. So a big crowd at Croke Park and everybody waiting for this second of the quarter-finals, and a place against, well, it will be Waterford now, we know, in the second of the hurling semi-finals. This is the 25th championship meeting of Galway and Tip. Tip with 18 wins so far, Galway with 6, and there's never been a draw. Tipperary won the toss, and they'll be playing from right to left in the first half. And the man who's in charge this afternoon is James Owens from Wexford, of course. James, who refereed the 2007 Minor All-Ireland final, and the following year he was in charge of the Under-21 final, and earlier this year he was in charge of the National League final, Galway against Cork. So everybody getting into position, expectations are high. The pitch in perfect condition, an ideal day for hurling as the match gets underway, and Galway try to apply the early pressure here. Easy one for Brendan Cummins, the man who plays for Tip for the 60th time in the championship this afternoon. Quite a record. Big long relieving clearance here, putting the pressure on Tony O'Gregan. Hand passing it out as far as Éanna Ryan. Diagonally over here, Kevin Hayes intervening, then racing after it himself, trying to get there, but Pádraig Maher goes back, makes up a fair bit of ground, and the clearance in here is collected by Brendan Maher. Hand passing it forward to Pádraig Maher, so a complete Maher creation, this particular movement by Tipperary, and a Maher score at the end of it. Patrick Bonner Maher, as he's known to his pals, getting the opening score after about 50 seconds.
Yeah, Jaron, you know, a player the lads were saying, a great workhorse, doesn't score that much, and that's really, you know, he's only a young under-21 player, is going to do his confidence the world of good.
He's just 20 years of age and a lot expected of him. Well, he's moved to left half forward, where he's being marked by Donal Barry in this match as that puck out comes out towards Damien Hayes. And just needing a second go at this one. Trying to generate a little bit of momentum now up front for Galway, and that hand pass has gone badly astray. And a wasted possession there by Éanna Ryan, whose uncle, of course, of the same name, was a star for Galway in the late 80s. Terrific player.
Great player, and seen Owen Kelly in at full forward, Lar Corbett in the left corner, and Noel McGrath right corner. Just Galway a few good possessions early on there, and you know, one ball into the goalie, a couple of slack passes. You know, really need to be getting the ball in directly in front of Joe Canning.
Well, Brendan Maher, who was left half back in the All-Ireland final last September, ready to hit this line ball, cuts it up well. Again, some problems for the halfbacks of Galway to deal with. Runs on there towards Ollie Canning, the 33-year-old from Portumna. Lots of Portumna players involved in this afternoon. Cut out by Paddy Stapleton. Now Declan Fanning, recovered from a knee, or rather a near injury, as far as Lar Corbett, who's come very deep and shows tremendous accuracy. Wonderful shot from way out the field, and a second point for Tipperary.
Yeah, Jaron, that's what we saw from Lar Corbett last year in the All-Ireland final. Brilliant catch by Paddy Stapleton, good hand pass there from Declan Fanning, and just, you can see they're over the halfway line. Maybe they got to 90 yards out of great point by Lar Corbett.
Well, that's a tremendous start for Tipperary. Now let's see what Galway can do. That's batted down here, and Brendan Maher comes across, helped out there by David Young, number 9. Here's Kevin Hayes, rolled up on the stick by Declan Fanning with some difficulty, back towards Éan O'Ryan again, and Éan O'Ryan's shot has gone to the left and it's gone wide. Well, I seem to remember his uncle Éan was involved in a very tempestuous semi-final of the All-Ireland back in 1989. A couple of players sent off for Galway that afternoon, and it's still spoken about 21 years later. From the puck out, cut out here by David Burke. They're glad to have him back in the middle of the park. He's over the line here, at least the ball was, and it's Patrick Bonner-Maher who's carried it out, so it's going to be possession for Galway. And coming across to hit this will be Ger Farragher. Interesting that Ger Farragher has been entrusted with all of the frees. Are you part of the body of contention that would hold that maybe Joe Canning should be taking them?
I think he should. I think your leader, Joe Canning, should be the leader of the Galway team, taking the frees, part of his game, like Henry Shefton for Kilkenny. And even coming across from the far side of midfield to take a line ball. I know he's good at them, but...
Well, it's gone straight there to Brendan Maher to cut it out here. Rather, Michael Cahill gets there, prods it back here towards Conor O'Mahony. Oh, he's lost possession here, and he loses it to Iarla Tanyan. Well blocked down. Very good intervention there once again by Pádraig Maher. Pressure on once more for Tanyan. Very awkward angle right across the face of goal. Collected over there brilliantly by David Young, who started his inter-county championship career at right half back, of course. Batted back out again. It comes towards Garrod Ryan out over the sideline, and it's going to be a line ball to Tipperary. Well, some defending to do that time for Tip. That was a dangerous ball.
It was brilliant block down here by Pádraig Maher, but David Young covered huge ground there.
And this is the catch. Tremendous play. Up at the other end, Lar Corbett losing his footing there. That's enough to allow Shane Kavanagh get in there, helped out by Ger Farragher once again. Up into the inside forward line, but there's nobody there for it. And coming across at his ease almost to take it is Paul Curran, running into a bit of difficulty. Pádraig Maher there to try and help him out. Comes to Éan O'Ryan, the Killimore Daily player, trying his shot, having a go and putting it over the bar. Great score. It's exactly what Galway needed, an early point to ease them into the match after just over 5 minutes of play.
Yeah, that's a super score. He had maybe an easier chance a few minutes ago, and that's going to settle him down as well. He wouldn't have that much championship experience, and very highly thought of in Galway.
Well, that's his first ever time to score a point in the championship. Very good one at that. Beyond Lar Corbett from the puck out, going back to take it there, Donald Barry, running into the challenge of Patrick Maher, helped out here by Damien Joyce. Swept away by Tony O'Gregan for Galway. Into the inside forward line. Dropped down by Damien Hayes. Onto it quickly was Kevin Hayes, his namesake. In to take it, Joe Canning. A buzz of expectation. Little block as he was trying to hit that one goal bound. And the challenge from Joe Hayes, unable to prevent the progress of Michael Cahill. Away by Declan Fanning eventually. Down there, brilliantly caught by Noel McGrath. Up into the air it goes from the final pass, however. Didn't produce anything. And Damien Joyce hand passes it away out to David Burke, the midfielder. Up towards Joe Canning once again. Dropping down to Pádraig Maher. He goes to ground. The referee signals that it's going to be a free out for Tipperary.
A great catch there by Noel McGrath. Inside. Yeah, hefty tackle there. Just watching the Galway already, Joe's coming out 50 yards. There's Noel McGrath. He's very good at that in the corner. Weak shot after, but I'm just watching the Galway full forward and already getting dragged out the field because the possession is not coming in long enough into them.
So Tipperary's first free of the match in the 7th minute, and Conor O'Mahony to take it. Didn't have the best of afternoons against Cork in the Munster Championship, but he's recovered his form in the last couple of matches. That's a huge one, dropping down beyond McGrath. Corbin was in after it, didn't quite get the necessary connection that he wanted, but they pursue Colm Callanan, the goalkeeper. Maher uses his body, and here comes Owen Kelly, and Owen Kelly making an angle for himself, does just enough, beautifully done, and he puts it over the bar.
Yeah, and Owen had a great game against Offaly the last day. He scored 11 points, 3 from play. Really seems to be sharp for this game, and brilliant All-Ireland last year, scored 13 points and ended up in the losing team.
Made his debut in the quarter-final against Galway way back 10 years ago. What a star he's been. He's still only 28 years of age.
Yeah, he's a brilliant stick man. He gets out in front and he's just one of the top forwards of this generation.
Colm Callanan's puck out. Gathered in here well by Garrow O'Brien. He's made up an awful lot of ground. 2 players pursuing him, and there was a nasty knockdown that time. And the referee is going to go across and speak to the Galway player involved, I'm sure. But a great run by Garrow O'Brien.
Yeah, and I think he's been the one big benefit to Tipperary. Him and David Young during the qualifiers. You know, the game against Wexford, he scored 4 points. He was very good against Offaly, another 3 or 4 points last Sunday. And you can just see the speed there that he has and the confidence to carry the ball.
Well, it results in another free anyway for Tipperary, and Owen Kelly's come out to take it. 14 goals and 310 points now in his championship career. Today is his 47th time to play for Tipperary in the championship, taking his time, composing himself. It's about 35 metres out, and he's got it spot on. He's in form, which is a very good sign for Tipperary, who now lead by 4 points to 1. Well, he had a Super All-Ireland final last year, still finished on the beaten team, and it's taken Tipperary a long while, maybe longer than many people anticipated, to recover from that, to get the momentum going again. But they're back in a quarter-final, seeking a semi-final places, and Orion comes through again, dangerously. What a goal! That's a super goal by Ian Orion, Galway's only scorer so far, and he ties up the match, and it's an absolutely brilliant goal after 10 minutes.
Yeah, classic wing forward goal. Took the chance, went in behind, Chunky broke it down, carried it in, and a brilliant finish to the roof of the net. Brendan Cummins never even moved.
Alarming gaps in the Tipperary backline. Pádraig Maher couldn't catch up with him, Paddy Stapleton couldn't get across, and Brendan Cummins couldn't get to it. So the match level, and once again it's Tipperary and Noel McGrath applying pressure. Well outside the 45-metre line, high up into the air again. Mars going chasing after it. Out comes Callanan. Keeps a very cool eye and cool head that time to make sure he got it. Out here as far as his fullback Shane Kavanagh, almost getting bottled up. Given away in the end to Garrow O'Brien, and Garrow O'Brien puts the resultant clearance to the left of the post, and Galway get away with it because that was a poor clearance out of defence. Should have been punished.
Yeah, Jerry just made the point of Pádraig Maher, like maybe just caught. Yeah, Ian Orion just got in behind Pádraig Maher, but you have, I suppose, you know, 2 fullbacks really playing on the 2 wings, and you know, a big pitch like Croke Park could just be cut for a yard of pace.
Well, there's no shortage of pace where Donald Barry's concerned. Off he goes, little block on it there by Shane McGrath, and it's got out over the sideline, and it's got to be a line ball to Tipperary. It's going to be interesting to see how Shane McGrath does this afternoon in the half-forward line. It's a relatively new position for him, although he did start his inter-county career against Offaly playing at right half-forward, and indeed played under 21 on the half-forward line as well. And it was a result of that they actually turned him into a midfielder. Won an All-Star as a midfielder, of course, as well, as that's taken by Michael Cahill. Big one, straight into the hands of Tony O'Gregan. And away by Damien Joyce. Huge one in beyond Joe Canning this time. On as far as Brendan Cummins has time. Good clearance. This time David Collins gets under it, takes it well. Inside towards Kevin Hayes. What can Chunky do here? Drops it short. Well taken again by Brendan Cummins. Saw it all the way. Declan Fanning. Good link-up play. And again it's worked away cleverly. Big one down towards Larkhor, but breaks it out, but only as far as Tony O'Gregan. It's straight away Owen Kelly goes to him, tries to make it difficult for the backs to get away. There are going to be no easy clearances out of defence. Tip tenacious, anxious to close, but David Collins does get it away. A good 70 metres down the field. Runs on beautifully here as far as Damien Hayes, and Hayes slots it over the bar. Fine point. Tipperary's backline dithering a little bit and just allowing Damien Hayes to get onto this. Two players went for the one ball. Hayes scampered away, made space for himself, got a very good point, and Galway lead.
Yeah, Shane Kavanagh getting on a good bit of ball there, great clearance up the field, and credit to referee letting the game flow so far, and a great pace to it.
Garrod Ryan, good looking shot, as it got the accuracy not quite. Well, that's what usually happens in matches like this between Galway and Tipperary. They tend to be rather high scoring games. We're looking for a right good championship clash. That's what we're looking for this afternoon. Two of the big rivals. Colm Callanan trying to win this puck out. There was a chance there for Éanna Ryan to take it. His anticipation wasn't quite good enough just there. Donald Barry put under a bit of pressure by Patrick Maher. Runs on to Lar Corbett, angling this one across towards Noel McGrath. It's 1 against Ollie Canning, and Canning was so clever that time, and he was being dragged back, and he wins a free out. Good play by 33-year-old Ollie Canning.
Yeah, Ger, that's great hurling. Brilliant ball by Lar Corbett. Noel McGrath very strong in the air. Great diagonal ball, and Ollie Canning showing all his experience. Didn't foul, let the ball break, and then onto it like a flash, and got his body in between the two. And
played it under his legs and got it away. Here comes Andy Smith. Out here as far as David Burke, half blocked, comes to David Young of Tipperary, well downfield. Noel McGrath comes out for it. He's only 19 years of age, remember. Here's Shane McGrath. McGrath's and Maher's aplenty in the Tipperary ranks, and it's Shane McGrath offloading it towards Owen Kelly, but behind him, and Kelly did still have the presence of mind to go out after it. Out as far as Noel McGrath again. He started it and he finishes. Great point, his first. Teams level. Well, this was Owen Kelly.
Lovely little flick by Owen again, and all of the Tipful forward line have scored from play. They're combining very well in there and they're creating a lot of room. They're half forward line playing very far out the field and making loads of room. On the other hand, Galway just can't get the ball into Joe Cannon. He hasn't touched it since the start of the game. No ball being played into him at all.
It's cut out again, and Patrick Maher plays it sensibly. Held there by Owen Kelly. Went out 45 metres from the target. Oh, might have been for Noel McGrath. Batted it, as we saw in the first match when Niall McCarthy did it from a more intricate build-up for Cork. Same type of final action here, batting it, but batting it outside and wide.
Yeah, there's a great bit of skill, but you can see it's definitely a tactic of Tipperary. They're trying to isolate Noel McGrath on Ollie Canning just with the height advantage, and they're just snuck in behind, and lovely bit of skill, just went wide.
Tucked out again by Colm Callanan for Galway, and Kevin Hayes tries to make some headway. Here Latanian comes in to try and help, but it's Brendan Maher losing it. Paddy Stapleton trying to get it away, out as far as Garrod Ryan. Little hand pass inside here brilliantly as far as David Young, and the Tumivara players again plays it in there, 2 against 2, and the referee saw some holding, and the referee was a good 50 metres away at the time, and it's got to be a free, and Tipperary will take every opportunity to get their points early stages in the match. Eagle-eyed James Owens from Wexford in charge. Well, he was a fair old distance away, but he saw some tugging, and it's got to be a free from 20 metres out, which Owen Kelly will fancy, I'm sure.
He does, and maybe,
are you thinking?
I think he might go for it. It's early in the game. It would be a big tonic. I think it could be worth a try.
Okay, let's see what he tries. Teams are level right now.
Go for it.
Kelly, crowd encouraging, but Kelly opts to put it over, and he's got his 3rd point. 2 of them from frees.
It's the mature Owen Kelly. The young Owen Kelly would have went for it.
Well, it's edged Tipperary into a 1-point lead once again. Early stages in the match. They both teams settle down very well here, but as you say, Galway still struggling to get the ball into their inside forward line, which has so much potential. Beyond Damien Hayes again, and Michael Cahill once again cuts out the supply lines, closes the door. David Burke's onto it quickly. Now can the half forward line help out? Well, right now Damien Hayes has gone deep. Well hooked there by Patrick Maher. Michael Cahill's after him, but it's 3 against 1, and it's Damien Hayes out over the end line, but the ball was knocked out. He's saying by a Tipperary player, and the umpire agrees. Referees stepping in to end the argument. And the end result is going to be a 65.
Yeah, Damien Hayes going very wide with the ball there, 3 men on him. I'd say it's wide. It was a wide ball.
Again, the umpire doesn't have the benefit.
Yeah, it was a hard one to read.
It is an impossible one. 65 it is anyway, and it's going to be Joe Canning who will take it, now 21 years of age.
It looks like he's obviously on the freeze today then.
It would make an awful lot of sense, because when you think about it, if his confidence is boosted by getting some scores early on, that's important to their forward line. After all, Ger Farragher's job in midfield is to win the battle in there.
Yeah, well, I thought initially maybe they'd let Farragher take the long ones, and maybe from 40-50 yards in let Joe take them, you know, and get both of them involved.
May happen yet. So let's see what Joe Canning can do here. He can accurately dispatch it over the crossbar. First 65 of the match duly converted, and the teams are level once again. 1-3 for Galway, 6 points for Tipperary. They've been level now 3 times. Brendan Cummins pucking it down into the half forward line, where Marr does well to take it from a tap down from Donald Barry, and there's a chance. What a goal by Owen Kelly! From the puck out and the knockdown and the delivery to Owen Kelly, a goal that's come after 19 minutes, and it's his 15th ever in the championship. Credit Patrick Maher, but then credit Owen Kelly for this blistering shot that beat Owen Calnan away down to his right.
Yeah, great play by Patrick Maher again, a great finish by Owen, but really Shane Kavanagh was under that ball, and Donald Barry had no business coming in under it and created the chance. Brilliant finish by Owen Kelly again.
David Young battling, but it's Ian O'Ryan who kicks it off Michael Cahill, and the line ball is going to be to Galway. So 1-6 to 1-3.
Yeah, it's probably, you know, on the balance of play, I think Tip deserved that lead. Galway really hanging on, living off scraps really.
7 scores to 4 so far. Well, Joe Canning has come out to take the sideline, and we know what kind of an expert he's been with these over the years at colleges and under 21 level. Now, can he put this over the bar? It's going left, but it might come in. It does come in. Brilliantly done.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
One from a 65, one from a sideline.
Unbelievable trajectory in that ball. You can just see the way he cut it in. It's coming in all the time. Absolutely great score.
As a golfer, you'd have been very, very pleased with that, huh?
I wouldn't be able to do that.
From the puck out here, it's once again the Galway half-back line in some difficulty. Tipper working so hard. Lar Corbett looking for Shane McGrath, scampering after this one, doing well. Tony O'Gregan over there to try and close down his space, and the referee says too many steps taken, and it's got to be a free out to Galway. Shake of the head by the Ballynahinch player.
Yeah, you know, it's a big talking point in most games. It was the Munster final last Saturday. I think Asaki took 10 steps at one stage, Michael Custon another time. Then you get a situation maybe 5 steps there and it's given. You know, it can be very frustrating.
So free to Galway, and Shane Kavanagh coming over to take it. He's their team captain, of course, as well. And that's the 20-metre line just behind him there. Irlatanian hoping for a supply of the ball in there, in with Joe Canning and Damien Hayes. They've got to go and win it, and there's nobody winning it so far. That was a fresh air puck, but once again David Young has an opportunity to get himself away, but he also takes too much out of it, and it's got to be a free in. So the referee's very consistent where that ruling is concerned this afternoon so far.
And he's having a very good game. He's letting it flow when he can, and you know, applying the rules as well.
Well, he won the plaudits after the league final, which was an excellent match in Thurles, Sunday night match back at the beginning of May. Joe Canning, so looking for his 3rd point here to cut it back to a 1-point game, and another one for Joe. So no panic from Galway's point of view. 1-6 to 1-5. Short puck out this time, they weren't expecting it, Galway, and it's away quickly through Paul Curran. Held on to solidly here by David Young, and the 25-year-old has to go after that one because he was needing a little too much time on it. Pádraig Maher on towards Young again, beating the attempted block of Ger Farragher, putting the pressure on David Collins, facing back towards his own end line, has his full back there to help him out. Shane Kavanagh showing strength and determination on towards Tony O'Gregan. Mightn't have been expecting it. Donal Barry incrementally taking it out of defence. Finally, Kevin Hayes picking it up quickly inside. Neat pick up here. Hayes changing direction but losing possession again. And it's back once more with David Young. Blocked by Ian O'Ryan. In there comes Damien Hayes, the number 13. Down he goes. Referee says you fell. Play on. Tipperary do. And onto it once again here comes Shane McGrath. Diagonally in there, putting the pressure on Ollie Canning over there with Noel McGrath. Smartly out as far as Andy Smith. Now how will he use possession? Well this time. Cleverly in for Ir Latanian. Looking up, looking for Joe Canning, but there is Paul Curran. Onto it comes Michael Cahill, the quarterback, helping out Paul Curran. But they're in difficulty again, Tipperary, in that full back line. And Joe Canning now takes it on, tries to take them past them. On for Damien Hayes, and Damien Hayes finishes.
Yeah, it worked out okay in the end, but that was a blatant free. I think Damien Hayes was fouled earlier in the play, and definitely Joe Canning was fouled there. I think Michael Cahill might have been fouled just before that as well, before that shoulder was knocked wrong, but just here he's definitely held there and pulled back. Should have been a free in.
Well, as you say, it did work out because it dropped to Damien Hayes, an acute angle, but he put it over the bar. They're level once more. Pádraig Maher trying to make inroads. Little pat on the back from Lar Corbett, and the youngster being encouraged from Laura, which is exactly the same place that John McIntyre, the Galway manager, comes from. And it's going to be a free in, which Owen Kelly will again show a lot of interest and time and patience over. Referee speaking to Shane Kavanagh.
Yeah, a little bit of dissent there. That, you know, makes it a goal scoring opportunity. We saw the last one he tapped over. He'd probably do the same in a tight match. But Pádraig Maher is doing very well, as is Garrod Ryan on the other wing. The two wing forwards for great movement by both of them, and Maher competing especially hard in the air for the ball.
So Kelly giving it time and consideration. He's going for it. Comes back out towards him. Away by Ger Farragher. Picked up by Corbett. Trying to go in. Stop there. Shane Kavanagh trying to get it away. Lots of pressure on. The swing was a bit wild, and it's going to be a free out for Galway. Well, it was a second free, and finally Owen Kelly decided to have a go as Shane Kavanagh is down injured. Made a timely intervention there, and Garrow O'Brien about to have his name taken by James Owens, and that'll be the first card shown in this match. So a caution for the Temple Derry Kenyans player, just 21 years of age, and this is the result of a wild pull. Shane Kavanagh feeling the effects of it.
Yeah, I didn't see it the first time round. You just see her just covering the ball. I don't think it was. I think it was an accident, really. I think he was trying to pull on the ball, but he caught him across the knee, and he seems to be in a fair bit of bother.
Well, he caught it across the upper thigh, it seemed, as Lar Corbett performs the running repairs back at the scene where he performed great heroics last year in the All-Ireland final with his 4 points. Tipperary's last victory here in Croke Park, of course, was last year in the semi-final of the All-Ireland against Limerick. And Galway's last victory here at Croke Park in the championship was actually back 5 years ago, that semi-final, that amazing game against Kilkenny when they got 5 goals.
Absolutely cracking game. And
one thing, I've been reading newspaper articles today criticising Liam Sheedy's selection for this match, but so far so good. The selections are working out.
Yeah, but he can only pick the team on form.
Yeah.
You know, they did very well. That's the team that started against Offaly, and they did their job very well that day. So I think everyone deserved to get, to be on the field again today.
Well, the doctor and physio have worked wonders, and Shane Kavanagh's okay, much to the satisfaction and Pleasure of John McIntyre seeing his full-back back in situ. So Colm Callan with that free, putting the pressure on Conor O'Mahony, bouncing off his hand, needing Paddy Stapleton to nip in. Tries to go around Ger Farragher. Referee says it wasn't a fair shoulder. Paddy Stapleton, who's operating at right cornerback.
Very little in that one. Paddy Stapleton is a very, very good cornerback. I think very underrated. But a couple of soft frees. I praised the referee, maybe last couple of frees a bit dodgy.
And again, it's the other centre half back, Tony O'Gregan, dropping it down. Shane Kavanagh recovered, trying to get away here quickly. Tony O'Gregan on as far as Ian O'Ryan. Turns well near the sideline here, does well to get it away from Patrick Maher, linking up here with Ger Farragher, sending it in. It's a huge one, it's a monster of a shot, and it's over the bar. Great point by Ger Farragher, and Galway into the lead again, 1-7 to 1-6.
Yeah, and that's what Ger Farragher brings to the midfield play. He's a super striker of the ball, very much more involved in the game today, blocked down or two earlier on and working very hard in the middle of the field. Well,
he was taken off against Kilkenny in the Leinster final, scored 4 points from frees that day, but clearly they weren't happy enough with his overall contribution. It's much better, as you say. There he is again. Michael Cahill out to this one. Very alert play. Ooh, the hand pass is a bit heavy. Brendan Maher had no chance of getting it. It's for David Burke instead, and Galway can counter-attack here. Canning goes up, takes it brilliantly. What a catch. Yeah. Using his strength.
And I think Paul Curran knew what he was doing there, because if Joe was back on his feet, Damien Hayes was gone inside and there was a goal on. If you just watch it again there, just when he catches, you watch Damien Hayes just breaks off it there, and if Joe had held his feet, it was gone inside, and I think rightly so, yellow card.
Well, the card will be dished out to Paul Curran, but it's interesting, Michael, that Joe Canning this afternoon between frees and a sideline has got on the scores, and he's now beginning to exert an influence. He wants to impose himself on this game.
Exactly, it works him into the game. But again, first really good ball, David Burke, a diagonal ball across the field to Joe, and he'll win those all day in the air.
This to put Galway 2 points in front. Well, all of his scores have come from place balls, a 65, a sideline, and a couple of frees as well, and it's 1-8 for John McIntyre's team against Tipperary's 1-6. 29 minutes are gone. Tipperary to win their own puck out here. Fumbled there by David Young. Runs on, however, to Shane McGrath, trying to take off and weave his way this way and that past defenders. Patrick Maher got a point earlier on. Well caught by Donald Barry, the wing back for Galway. The clearance, however, Brendan Maher challenging for it. Andy Smith's there as well, so too David Burke. They get it away towards Ger Farragher, the Castlegar player, who got that brilliant point a little while ago, trying to replicate it. Hasn't done it this time, however. Wave of the hands by the umpire, signalling disappointment for Ger Farragher. Quick puck out beyond David Young towards Patrick Maher. Picked up once again there by Tony O'Gregan, the centre half back, putting the pressure on Paul Curran, lets it run on dangerously, and Michael Cahill comes across and sweeps intelligently, not hanging around with that ball in the small square. Here's Damien Hayes, nicely in as far as Irlatanian, has to go back to make an angle, makes a good one and scores a good point. So everybody in the inside forward line for Galway now has also scored, same as the inside forward line of Tipperary, and it's 1-9 to 1-6.
Yeah, good teamwork there. Damien Hayes look outside, and a good finish for Irlatanian.
And Seamus Callanan has just come on in place of David Young. Well, now it's terrific for Tipperary to be able to bring on a player as talented as Seamus Callanan. But right now they're watching as Ollie Canning defends for Galway and gets that ball away. It's got to be a line ball for Tipperary, taken quickly, but maybe a little too quickly, because there's an injury to Ian O'Ryan. Check on the collarbone to make sure that he's okay there.
I'd say the linesman has Seamus Callanan come on there, and himself and Tony O'Gregan did a bit of shouldering off each other. I'd say he's just bringing that to the referee's attention. That's
John Sexton, by the way, originally of Limerick, now based in North Cork, who's the linesman on this near side, Brian Gavin on the far side. And the attention continues. So what's the ref planning to do as a result of the instruction he's been given?
Just have a word, I'd say, and tell him to calm down a bit.
Well, I think it might be more than that. He might want his autograph. So Tony O'Gregan and Seamus Callanan have been spoken to, and they've both been shown yellow cards. So that's 4 yellow cards issued so far. 3 for Tipperary, 1 for Galway. Pressure on the Galway backs again. Callanan trying to take it up. In there in that heap, however, was Garrow O'Brien, last man up. Referee will throw the ball in. Looking for 2 volunteers. And Garrow O'Brien there with David Collins. Nobody the requisite distance back, but you hardly expect it. Damien Joyce bursting out to David Burke. And again, early ball into Joe Canning. Out came Paul Curran. Good play, helped out by Paddy Stapleton. And the cornerbacks are helping out the whole time, making sure that Paul Curran is not isolated on Joe Canning, or as little as possible anyway. That's down as far as Noel McGrath. Ollie Canning's after him. Out comes Shane Kavanagh. This is good play. 1-9 to 1-6. 2 minutes to go to half-time. All-Ireland quarter-final. Up towards Irla Tanyan. Swept out once again towards Kevin Chunky Hayes, as they call him. Kevin looking around. Oof. Placing it over there towards Damien Hayes, but Michael Cahill's there as well. And the 21-year-old does enough. The Thurles Sarsfield's player emerges with possession, crosses the 45-metre line. Reverse hand pass to Brendan Maher. Cleverly down towards Noel McGrath. Might have got a stick to it, but he was being fouled by Ollie Canning, the referee has decided. Well, Tip's last score has come in the 19th minute, and that was their goal by Owen Kelly. They need scores. They'll have a free.
You're making the point there, Ger, about the support for Paul Curran, and that's vital because Paul Curran's a great stopper, great man to break the ball, and both Michael Cahill and Paddy Stapleton having great games, and Cahill is a great young player, just come on to the Tip team and having a super season.
So it's the best part of 15 minutes since Tipperary's last score. So Owen Kelly happy with a point this time, eating into the lead. So it's a goal and 4 now for Owen Kelly, and 2 between them. Heading towards the 35th minute mark. 2 additional minutes will be played as Colm Callanan pucks it out. Highly interesting and absorbing match so far. Shane McGrath taking it down, sweeping it away. He's playing very deep, isn't he, for a half forward. Shane Kavanagh now. Well, I think he's probably switched with Seamus Callanan. That's the reason we saw him playing so deep. Comes out to Kevin Hayes. Hayes ready to take off. Well, when he gets back on his feet, he will. Here comes Ger Farragher, losing it to Brendan Maher. Maher's off 60 metres out. Having a go himself to close the gap even more. First point for Brendan Maher in this quarter-final. And it's 1-9 to 1-8, and we're into the 2 minutes of stoppage time. But that was a brilliant individual score there by the Borrisoleigh man.
Yeah, he was a brilliant miner a few years ago in the middle of the field for Tip, and came on the team then as a wing back, but playing very well. He had a great game against Offaly the last day in Portlaoise, and great score there. Well,
there you see Kevin Hayes again requiring attention, and the doctor and physio for Galway have been particularly busy during the opening 35 minutes, attending to injuries for their players. It's a match, of course, which brings maybe the history makers to look into their books and see that the first ever All-Ireland final was between these 2 counties back in August 1888, and then it finished with Tipperary, represented by Thurles Sars, winning. Tipperary are trailing here by a point, close to half-time. That's cut out again here by Shane McGrath, but immediately there are Galway players in there to close the space. Poor touch by Irla Tanyan, gave it back to Shane McGrath, looks happier in midfield. Noel McGrath slipped, but the ball skidded past everybody, and Colm Callanan can help Galway to hold on to their very, very slender lead. David Collins inside to Tony O'Gregan. Anybody's match. Tip started much better. Galway have come back. Pressure on Paul Curran now. Slips it out here to Michael Cahill. 15 seconds of the 2 minutes of added time to be played. Ollie Canning running into challenges, shows and looks composed. Damien Joyce helping out, sweeping it across towards Joe Canning, runs back here again towards Michael Cahill. Up and down the field it's coming. Oh, it's a great ball on here for the substitute, and Seamus Callanan, his first contribution to put the ball into the back of the Galway net in added time at the end of the first half. 37 minutes gone, and it's 2-8 to 1-9, and McGrath knocked it down for Seamus Callanan, and he had the goalkeeper to beat. And Tipperary's second goal comes on the call of half-time, and it's scored by Seamus Callanan. Well, what a boost that is to take into the break.
Yeah, brilliant movement all throughout the first half by the Tipperary forwards, and Callanan brings that bit of an X factor to the thing. He's very, very pacey and straight through there on goal. You'd ask where it was Tony O'Gregan, but I think overall in the first half Tip deserves to be a couple of points up going in.
Well, they started very well, then Galway had their spell, but what a way to finish for Tipperary at the end of this half-time in the All-Ireland quarter-final. It's Tipperary 2 goals and 8 points, Galway 1 goal and 9. No changes made by either team at the start of the second half then. So 2 points between the teams, and Brendan Maher tries to get away from his man, who is David Burke. And the referee is pointing in the general direction of the Galway goal. So it's going to be a free, which Owen Kelly will come out and take. Owen Kelly, who got a goal and 4 points in the first half. His usual excellent contribution. On the opposite side, Joe Canning got 4 points, all from place balls. And of course, Ian O'Ryan got a goal and a point. So now, will this be the perfect start to the second half? From just inside the 65-metre line, straight as a die. And another one for Owen Kelly. So 2-9 to 1-9. And what a boost that goal before half-time for Seamus Callanan and for Tipperary was. His 6th ever championship goal. He's got onto the 40. Shane McGrath's got into midfield. He's got possession. Challenged there by Kevin Hayes, trying to get away from 2 players. The other one there was David Burke in the green helmet. On as far as Gaddo O'Brien here. Swiftly inside, looking for Noel McGrath. Helped to make the Seamus Callanan goal. Lar Corbett got a lovely point right at the very beginning of the match. Claims he was being held. Referee not interested. And so Donald Barry, the wing back in the corner, helping out. Good clearance. That's Declan Fanning, wearing some protection, I think, on his right side of his head there from the ear injury that he sustained against Wexford. Oh, there's pressure here. Hayes. Oh, a calamity for Tipperary. Another goal. And Damien Hayes scores. And the teams are level for the 5th time. And the goal comes in the 37th minute. What was happening here among the Tipperary backs?
Paul Curran out in front, good ball in by Kevin Hayes, who worked hard, and then you just see Damien. That's what he does so well. He's always eyes on the ball, one-handed into the back of the net. Great goal. But you know, Declan Fanning was on the ball out the field before that. He'd loads of time to clear it, and Kevin Hayes dispossessed him. And Paul Curran, another mistake. So a soft goal for Tipperary to give away.
Oh, that was a shocking piece of defending back there by Paul Curran and by Tipperary, getting themselves into a right mess. And Hayes arrives and gets his 17th ever championship goal as Shane McGrath goes down with an injury, and the physio in and required immediately. So tied up at 2-9 to 2-9.
Yeah, and since he's gone to midfielder, really he's changed the shape of the game. I know it's all square now, but he's getting an awful lot of possession from David Burke, and he's going to have to tighten up.
Well, mistakes have been made, and we've had some great moments of skill as well. Inside towards Seamus Callanan, can't take it. Out comes David Burke, and the referee saw that he handled it too many times. Is that it?
No, there was no. He didn't. He played it off the hurl. We'll maybe see the replay.
Worth seeing this again.
Just to watch. I've just mentioned David Burke there. Came onto the ball there. Oh, the ref was right. He threw it up and he touched it again, and he's hurt. Yeah, well picked up. In fairness, because he was behind him, and.
Good work by the referee, who's been very vigilant. James Owens from Wexford in charge this afternoon. Very highly regarded referee. So another free in the middle of the park this time, and Owen Kelly 1-5 so far his tally. The goal coming from play, of course, from a big distance out. Again he catches it superbly and drives it between the posts and over the bar. And so Tipperary crawl into the lead once again by 2-10 to 2-9, and it's quite a match. Who's going to get to the semi-final of the GAA Hurling Championship 2010? Puck out by Colm Callanan. Two Galway players go for the one ball. Paddy Stapleton comes across, nurses it out into the middle to Shane McGrath, who helps it forward in over the head of Noel McGrath this time. Sweeping up is Damien Joyce, the 30-year-old from Capitagal, out once again to the wings. Well blocked. That's very good play there as Lark Corbett went back to deny Donal Barry. But Barry is a plucky young player. Gets it out as far as Ger Farragher. Going for it this time. He's got a great point in the first half. He's got another. Wonderful score by Ger Farragher. Well, he's making the long-range point-taking into a real art form this afternoon. A master at the skill, and the teams are level once more.
A great passage to play there, a great chasing by Lark Corbett, and Donal Barry did very well to pass it on, and Farragher great long-range point.
Tell you, Michael, we've had a very eventful opening 5 minutes to the second half, and here comes Ollie Canning, keeping it away from Noel McGrath. The master against the youngster. Up he gets, he was tripped, and it's got to be a free out.
He's a brilliant hurler, Jerry. I know we've over all the years, he's there since '96, but he has unbelievable skill, still great pace there, and see him just been pulled back. But his first touch, and just watching the battle between him and Noel McGrath, to me is worth the admission alone. It's intriguing. McGrath trying to get the better of Nolly, using his experience, using his body, and here's Chunky with a great catch.
From that free by Tony O'Gregan. What can Hayes do with it? Get it in towards Joe Canning, but he can't contain it. Andy Smith, his clubmate at Portumna. Back goes Canning again. Look at the number of Tipperary players in pursuit. One of them is Brendan Maher. There's four grouping around him like bees around a honeypot, and it ends up being a free into Galway, and Big Joe does his job.
Just shows you, the pressure he's under. Not sure, just maybe held back there as he was trying to get at the ball, with four Tipperary men around him. That's the pattern of the game. Every time he goes for it, there's a couple of people on him.
You just sense the pressure that these players are under right now. We've only played 6 minutes of the second half. A semi-final place at stake. Maybe they'd already feel they should be in a semi-final, but they're here. It's a quarter-final. There's progress to be made. They're two of the highly regarded senior teams, and it's Joe Canning to take it. Teams level, 2-10 against 2-10. He's got 4 so far, all in the first half. Should be another, and it is.
And you're right, the pressure is on, because Tipperary 3 years with Liam Sheedy as manager, won the Munster Championship, won the league, but they want to make the breakthrough and win an All-Ireland. Galway, narrowly beaten by Kilkenny last year, very disappointed after the Leinster final, and they want to get back into the All-Ireland semi-final as well.
It was a great puck out, but it didn't quite reach Brendan Maher because it was seized on by Ger Farragher, but the idea by Brendan Cummins was good. Declan Fanning now, kicking it in. Inside towards Noel McGrath. Back there is David Collins to scoop it out, but Pádraig Maher is a menacing figure. Maher, hand pass woof beyond Lark Corbett, but might work out. Gearóid Ryan, goal chance! It's another one! Colm Callanan beaten again, and Gearóid Ryan gets his first ever goal in the championship in the 43rd minute, in a match which has everything. 5 goals, and the third of them falling to Tipperary and to Gearóid Ryan. 3-10 to 2-11. Tipperary by 2.
Yeah, Patrick Maher, a hand pass to nowhere really, and Gearóid Ryan just making the run, taking a chance, and ran onto it and stuck it away.
It might not have been the way they planned to move it, but here comes David Burke on the counter. Anything could happen here, and it's gone over the bar, his first point. So the gap is closed again. Yeah,
and I don't think Damien Hayes or Joe Canning are very happy there. If you watch all the room, all you have to do is keep going with it and draw a man. Damien Hayes was out on the right and Joe was there on the left, and maybe, looking to replay, maybe one of the tip defenders was closing in, so good point and settle him as well. He's only 20 years of age and a big match for him.
But as you say, a little bit of immaturity there where his play is concerned. There were better plays forwards around. 19 points to 18, Tipperary ahead by 1. Great catch under pressure there by the centre half-back, Tony O'Gregan. All on his own now with the clearance. Big one down towards Joe. Joe Canning goes after it. There to deny him is Paul Curran. Anywhere will do just to try and get that ball away, but in steps Irlatanyan, and then it's taken away by Pádraig Maher. He may have had a nervous and uncertain opening half, but he's got that ball away inside. Taken by Tony O'Gregan again. Tremendous hurling. Good one down here as far as Ian O'Ryan. Goal and a point from the first half. Into the corner here towards Andy Smith. Another Portamna player making an angle. Delivered into the mix here, but it's a little bit too far from goal immediately to threaten Tipperary. But they're going to build once more. Damien Hayes, goal and 2 so far, and that's gone to the left. And he'll be bitterly disappointed. It's only Galway's third wide, and there have been 3 for Tipperary as well. So the level of accuracy has been very, very good, and the skill level very high. How about that for a catch by Tony O'Gregan?
Yeah, Galway will be very disappointed. 2 great catches by Tony Og, and really the wrong option there. Andy Smith should have played it back out to Ian Ryan outside. He was on his own.
Maher was after it, but out came Ollie Canning from the corner. Takes it under control, steady as you like. Little block on it, however. Lark Corbett feeds it inside. In as far as Noel McGrath. Point so far, looking for another. And he's put it wide. So it stays at 3:10 to 2:12. 45 minutes are gone.
And Jerry, you were mentioning the pressure. That's when you need cool heads, people to take the right options, you know, to be able to see who's in the best position and give them the ball. And you just saw there in the last passage play a little bit of nervousness creeping in there on both sides.
Irlatanyan trying to win it, but it breaks down towards Declan Fanning, the Killinall man. Off his left-hand side towards Lark Corbett, trying to move onto it there. Got a little nudge on the back from Tony O'Gregan. Referee allowed play to continue. Brendan Maher in the white helmet for Tipperary loses it, comes back out here to another man in a white helmet. It's Brendan Maher once again. Made up some ground there to get that one, and he's floated it over the bar. A second point. Well, he's involved in the build-up to that and at the conclusion as well. Took it in his stride, swept it away past Donal Barry. That was very composed and brilliantly executed. From the puck out, with Tip leading by 2 and rampant now as Shane McGrath races down there, and he puts it wide. He was shortening the grip on the stick, trying to make absolutely sure that he would put it between the sticks, but just failed in his task.
Yeah, it was a brilliant run though, and you know, himself and Brendan Maher been very dominant since half time. Like, Tipperary doing an awful lot of hurling, still only 2 points in it. You know, Galway are really living off scraps, and they're doing very, very well to stay in the game, but Tip beginning to dominate in the half-back line, middle of the field.
Tanyan came out, but so too came Paddy Staple in the Tipperary corner back to win it, to bat it away, to get it down. Pressure on Ollie Canning, fumbles initially, and that's enough to allow Owen Kelly get in. Feed it across here as far as Garroyd Ryan. From the middle of the park, he puts it over the bar. It's a goal and a point now for the 21-year-old. And Tipperary lead here by 3-12 to Galway's 2-12.
Yeah, lovely simple score. Owen Kelly again showing his class, you know, just quick look up and simple ball across the field, an easy point for Garroyd Ryan.
It's Shane, is it Shane Kavanagh who's down there with it may be Damien Joyce, in fact, the man in the corner who's got the cramp and needs the assistance of Colm Callanan. Well, it's helter-skelter up and down the park there. Quite a match. Tipperary's 6th successive year playing championship in Croke Park, and the 10th year in the last 11. 2004 was the only year when they didn't play here. They bowed out in Killarney to Cork that particular year, so that was a blank, as Damien Joyce continues to get the attention. Galway's last quarter final here, of course, was when Ger Loughnane was in charge, was back in 2007, and they battled hard but lost in the end to Kilkenny that day. John McIntyre saying, well, he could look forward to the racing, but he look forward to it much better next week in Galway if they win.
Yeah, I doubt that's cramped. The way players train now after 47 minutes, there's no way. I said probably calf muscle injury, and Damien Joyce playing well, having a great battle there with Lark Corbett. So they'll be hoping, you know, Fergal Moore injured for the year, so they can't afford to lose anybody else.
And there's just a close-up there of Declan Fanning. Legacy of that very nasty injury he sustained against Wexford right at the very beginning of the qualifier. Now listen to the crowd get right behind. 30,000 people here, just a little under, at Croke Park this afternoon. More or less an identical crowd to that which was in Thurles for the quarterfinals last year at about this time. Noel McGrath now, beaten by Ollie Canning. Out it comes on a perfect pitch at Croke Park. Out to Lark Corbett on the 45-metre line. He drives it with great force over the bar, and it's a second for Lar Corbett. Nobody close enough to him. David Collins late getting in with the challenge. Lar was very composed and it was executed with confidence. So there's all of a sudden a 4-point gap between the teams, and Tipperary trying to take a firm command around the middle of the park. Pádraig Maher over there in the yellow helmet, but a lot of Galway players there. Kevin Hayes went in, so too did Éan O'Ryan, and the referee in the end whistles against Galway. So a free to Tipperary once again, and Galway are preparing to bring on Kevin Hines. He'll be the first sub they will introduce in just a moment. Number 25 from Sarsfields. So Owen Kelly's gone way back there. We've seen him do this often. Back inside his own 65-metre line. It's sailing, it's moving, travelling, dropping short. Callan does well. Now quick counter-attack. Can Galway benefit here? They're trying to win some primary ball in there, and they're failing in that half-forward line. That might be where they're going to make the change, as Conor O'Mahony sweeps it back in for Tipperary, broken down by Noel McGrath. Galway get there first. Tony O'Gregan needs an extra second. Out to Andy Smith. Inside towards Joe Canning, inside towards Iarla Tanyan, runs on, but there's always a Tipperary player there, but Joe Canning goes down. That must be a penalty.
Has to be a penalty, yeah.
He was pulled down. It was a moment of sheer consternation for the Tipperary backs. They should have had that under control. There was a stumble and Joe Canning went down. We'll see it again very shortly.
Yeah, just the ball broke inside her. Joe Canning came over with a hefty shoulder and just hurled, just held a bit unlucky there. Pádraig Maher, I'd say his eyes were on the ball. If you just watch it here, just hey, he held the hurl and Joe hit the deck. You know, it wasn't a blatant foul or anything like that, but he did pull him down.
Well, a game which has given us 5 goals so far. The players are looking up at the big screen to see that. Well, they've seen it.
They're encouraging the ref to change his mind, but he can't do it.
No. Once he makes his decision.
There wasn't, you know, looking at it, there wasn't much in it. Joe knew what he was doing. He got the arm across him and hit the ground.
Well, they say about Joe that he has one of the hardest shots in hurling. Scorer of 10 goals in championship fare up to now. His team 4 points behind. 3 on the goal line. Pádraig Maher, Conor O'Mahony and Brendan Cummins wait. Canning strikes and Canning scores! "52 minutes are gone and there's one between them. It's 3:13 to 3:12 and it's an absolutely thrilling game at Croke Park Stadium.
Yeah, it was a nice height, but it's just the pace of it was just too much. An absolute rocket into the corner of the net. And Jared, I have to say it's one of the strangest games I've seen. I don't know, Galway are only a point in it, and really they've won no ball in the half-hour in the midfield in the second half. They get them cleaned out there, and yet they're still only a point in it.
Which is very ominous from Tip's point of view. The change has been made. Kevin Hines is on, Kevin Hayes is off. Garrod Ryan. So a change in the half-forward line as anticipated for Galway. They've got to try and get some ball in there. Owen Kelly showing his wizardry once again, out to Shane McGrath, dancing around the challenges, getting sufficient latitude to have a crack himself, but he's drilled it to the right this time. And I can tell you, Noel McGrath isn't one bit happy with that, because he felt that was a ball he should have left into the forwards.
Yeah, well, I'm watching Noel McGrath off the ball all during the game. He's making brilliant runs all over the place, and he's not been picked out.
Colm Callanan pucks it out, putting the pressure on the Tipperary halfbacks. They deal with it very, very adequately. Now out comes Shane Kavanagh, out from full-back, getting away from Lar Corbett, getting away from Pádraig Maher. Little hand pass, the Galway player injured on the far side, might be Éan O'Ryan. That's hit in there by Kevin Hines. First contribution, bounces back out towards Declan Fanning once again. Little hand pass to his left to Pádraig Maher. Slipping it inside here, Conor O'Mahony making absolutely certain. Long one, brilliantly caught again by Tony O'Green. That must be about the 3rd brilliant catch he's made. Back up on his feet is Éan O'Ryan, scorer of a goal and a point already in this match. Neatly down in here to Damien Hayes, dancing away, getting away from Michael Cahill. This is danger for Tipperary. The shot is brilliant and it's over the bar, and the teams are level for the 7th time in this wonderful quarter-final of the GAA Hurling Championship 2010. A goal and 3 now for Damien Hayes.
Yeah, he's having a super game again, Damien, having a brilliant year for Galway, and a great ball there by Ian Ryan again, very intelligent, straight into his hand, but Ian Ryan is in trouble, I think, with his shoulder. He's going to be a huge loss to Galway because he is playing some very good hurling.
Well, that is interesting. John O'Brien has come on, he's number 29, and the player who's gone off is number 13, Noel McGrath.
I'm astounded by
that is an amazing decision.
Yeah. You know, Ollie Canning, definitely getting the better of him, but on a number of occasions Noel McGrath has made some great runs, and he's too good a hurler, I think, to have on the bench. He can play anywhere. I wouldn't be taking him off.
Well, Ian O'Ryan is in difficulty as well. So number 24, Angus Callanan, comes on in his stead. That's instead of Ian O'Ryan.
Yeah, and he's a great sub to have. Angus Callanan had a great year last year, but Ian O'Ryan, super game, and sorry to see him going injured.
Well, from play, it's back with Shane McGrath again. A sniping run through the centre, a little hand pass, laying it off here, intended for John O'Brien, who's just come on. There was a trip there on David Burke, the referee not too far away, and it's going to be a free. Down on the deck there was Ollie Canning.
Yeah, when you talk about young players, look at this, just a little flick away there.
Well, it was Ollie who was tripped, not David Burke, and so free once again. 3:13 to 3:13.
Maybe a bit like Tony Brown, the longevity. It's great to see these players, what they bring to the game, and Ollie's just hurling brain, and his skill and his first touch is just unbelievable.
Well, he's been around for a long time. Made his debut in 1999 in the championship. Same weekend, incidentally, that Henry Shefflin made his debut for Kilkenny. The free from Ger Farragher, huge one, dropping 13 metres down. Damien Hayes tries to make a bit more space for himself. It comes out, and that ball is put over the bar. Kevin Hines, first point since coming on, and Galway steal into the lead again. 3:14 to 3:13. He waited, lurking with intent. Great point.
Yeah, and fresh legs in the half hour line where they needed them. You have Angus Callanan and Kevin Hines. There's Angus Callanan on the ball now.
Angus Callanan, such a skillful performer. Hines, who got the point, down towards here, Latanian, trying to take on his man, having a go himself. It's very close, but I think it's just outside. Didn't quite measure it as he wanted to. Didn't quite get the angles right. Don't know whether geometry was his top subject when he was at school or not. Puck out to Brendan Cummins.
Just looked a little bit casual, for my liking. You want to be a bit more driving. You're coming out there. He just lobbed it up and hope for the best.
This is up towards Seamus Callanan. Again, it's taken by Damien Joyce. Well, such a very good start to the second half by Tipperary, but now Galway have come back, and Ollie Canning this time takes too much out of it, and it's going to be a free against him and against Galway. 57 minutes are gone, 13 to go. Yeah, he took a lot of time.
Yeah, and great tackling, and credit, some players get a bit frustrated, but he was trying his best to get free with it, but good tackling by the tip forwards.
So Tipper a point behind, as you can see. Owen Kelly's got 1-6 so far. The 6 points have come from play spalls, I think. Well, no, the first one was from play. Anyway, can he get his next score? He can. 1-7 for Owen Kelly. The teams are now level for the 8th time. Galway 3-14, Tipperary 3-14. You wouldn't bank against an extra time here. I think it was Donald O'Grady who said to me this morning, I fancy a draw. That's batted down by Declan Fanning. Onto it quickly, there came Kevin Hines. Oh, he's hot. He's in really tough form. Itching to get into the match, and he's just taken a second point.
Yeah, that's a great score, Jerry. Player that's in and out of the Galway team over the last couple of years, but he's made a huge difference. I think Galway will just begin to tire in the half hour line, and those two substitutions could be the key.
Well, good work by the management team to bring them in, and Paddy Stapleton now getting it down towards Lar Corbett. Wants to maintain Tip's involvement in this year's championship, wants to build upon what they achieved last year. He's down, requiring attention. Referee moving in to take control of the situation. as the medical personnel are in swiftly to attend to the 29-year-old from Thurles SARS.
Good, fair stop, right? He definitely pulled him down there. You can see that. Ollie just went to the ground himself and then pulled down Lara Corbett and came down on his shoulder.
Well, let's hope Lara's okay. They've used up 2 of their possible subs already. Lara's not the kind of a fellow to feign injury. He's had a tremendous career, an All-Ireland win here, of course, back in 2001. There's Michael Ryan, one of the selectors there, with Liam Sheedy. The other man, of course, is the coach, Eamon O'Shea, who actually lives there, as in the background, lives in Galway.
Be interested to see, Ger, would they bring Noel McGrath back on? I'm just astounded still that he was taken off there, and he wasn't very happy through his helmet there when he went off, and it was just interesting to see if Lara did have to go, would they bring him back on?
Tough being a manager, tough having to make these vital decisions now with 11 minutes of this quarter-final still to play. Lara back on his feet, his team a point behind. There's Noel McGrath, who would just love to get a chance to come back. Wow, they cover that part of the ground. Down on the park itself, it's Pádraig Maher who gets possession here towards Gearóid Ryan. Having a go from a huge distance out. Will it make it? No, not quite. Close, but not quite close enough for Gearóid Ryan.
They look great from the go over, sometimes he's kind of going away from the goals out over the halfway line. Maybe better to play it inside Owen Kelly.
John O'Brien's inside, by the way, as well, in at full forward at the moment, as this is gathered in by Declan Fanning, looking for room, playing it to a colleague. That colleague is Paddy Stapleton. Oof, Pádraig Maher wasn't quite anticipating that one, because the race was won by David Collins. Inside towards Iarla Tanyan, 2 against 1, might break for a Galway player, and then Declan Fanning once again gets possession, keeps it away. Not a great clearance, only as far as Damien Hayes. Back in again, this time towards Angus Callanan, and Angus Callanan brings another huge roar from the Galway following, his first point. So the 2 substitutes have done well on the half-forward line, winning ball and now contributing 3 points between them, and it's Galway by 2.
Yeah, great work. Joe Canning got the hook in, and Damien Hayes, that's what he does brilliantly. If the score's on, he'll go for it, otherwise he lays it off very well, and great point there by Angus Callanan.
Here comes Lara Corbett, happily recovered. 2 of them are after him, trying to hook him, and he rushed his shot and just put it to the right, and it's a missed opportunity.
Yeah, and you have to credit Donald Barry. He covered an awful lot of ground, and you watch him here, he just gets into hurl and puts off Lara Corbett. Really still should have put it over the bar. Normally he would, and a bad miss.
Galway by 2 at a critical stage in the match. 8.5 minutes are left. They've got that extra pep in their step, but there have been 6 goals already in this match, and you never know what's going to happen next.
Yeah, Pádraig Maher gone in centre back for Tipperary to try to counter Kevin Hines, who's made a big difference.
And his namesake Brendan Maher, the referee has decided was fouled, and it's going to be a free out for Tipperary, and Pádraig Maher in the gold helmet being told bring the ball back a little bit. So Owen Kelly goes back out once again to take the free, as you see a substitute warming up over there, and that is Conor O'Brien. If he's going to come in, he's a back specialist.
Yeah, maybe Michael Cahill. Damien Hayes 1-3 scored, and set up a couple of scores as well.
It's quite possible. Owen Kelly's got 1-7 so far. From a huge distance, it's dropping short. John O'Brien reaches for it, can't get it. Instead it is David Collins who hand passes it out to his wing-back partner Donald Barry, out over the sideline off a Tipperary stick, and it's going to be a line ball for Galway. Getting a bit desperate for Tip, and Declan Fanning is the one who's coming off, and number 28 just gone in there, as you saw, Conor O'Brien. So will those changes settle things down? Conor coming in for his 10th championship match, and he's gone in at right half back, it seems. And there's pressure again on the Tipperary backs, and it's a super catch by Iarla Tanyan. Release there as far as Kevin Hines. Little hand pass across here to Angus Callanan. Got that point a few moments ago. Shows vision. picks out Damien Hayes, darts this way and that, trying to take on Michael Cahill. 3 after him. Will Galway retain the possession? Can they produce something at the end of it? Will Tipperary win it back? In slow measured fashion, they reach for it. In goes David Burke in the green helmet there to try and take command of that situation, and out over the sideline, and the linesman over there decides, that's John Sexton, that it's going to be a line ball for Tipperary. They need possession. 6 minutes to go. Michael Cahill ready to take it. Tip behind, 3:16 to 3:14.
Galway had plenty of chances there, Damien Hayes and Angus Cahill both chances to put the ball over the bar and delayed, and it could be a crucial one.
As Cahill whips it up here, across comes Tony O'Gregan, pursued over there by Seamus Callanan, who made an impression with that goal but haven't seen a lot of him since. Up towards John O'Brien, caught brilliantly by Shane Kavanagh. Now this is terrific full back play when required. Now can he get it away? Pursued by John O'Brien, he gets a second chance, needs to dish it off. Again he holds on to it and loses it, and Tipperary win it back, and it's a block by Shane Kavanagh, full credit to him, but just about keeping Tipperary at bay out there in the middle of the park. They're fumbling Tipperary. Galway having to retreat, and taking over once more is Conor O'Brien. Conor O'Brien coming through here, the substitute. Farragher's after him inside towards Maher. Will it break back towards Tipperary again? Farragher goes, tries to keep it away from Owen Kelly this time. In comes Ollie Canning, and the referee blows the whistle. And listen to the roar from the Galway fans. 5 minutes left. Ollie Canning down injured. Well, some match, as Owen Kelly is now being spoken to by the referee. He's got a goal and 7 in this game so far, and the referee issuing a yellow card to him. So a caution for the 28-year-old from Mullinahone.
Yeah, just watch Ollie here again, just in, flicks the ball, and Owen Kelly high.
I think Tipperary are planning to make another change, by the way, while we watch Ollie Canning in difficulty. And it would appear that the number 17 there, Pa Burke, with the yellow helmet is on, and the player who's gone off is Patrick Maher. So late changes. That's 4 substitutions now made by the Tipperary management, led by Liam Sheedy. But these are desperate times right now for Tip, as Ollie Canning still lies on the ground here and looks to be in considerable distress. Galway are about to bring on Niall Healy from Crockwell. He'll be their 3rd change. This is the man that got a hat-trick the last time that Galway won a championship match at Croke Park. It was August, and it was 2005, and the team they beat that day, Kilkenny. Ollie Canning back on his feet straight away. Angry words, I think, directed towards Owen Kelly. He wants to stay with the action, you can be certain of that. Ollie is part of the Warrior class, and Owen Kelly the scorer of a goal and 7. A little bit of frustration, I think.
Yeah, it was a lot of time, didn't seem to be that severe a belt. Ollie be very experienced, and
so far the scoring chances, Michael, are interesting. Tipperary have created 27 against 24 for Galway, and Ollie Canning looks like he's going to stay on. He's staying on. If he can at all, he'll stay on. They're still attending to him right now. They look like they're playing with 14 men, but he's still back there, and his brother Joe has the possession, trying to go around 4 Tipperary backs. Released outside here as far as Angus Callanan. Callanan from 13 metres on an acute angle has put the ball wide. 2.5 minutes of the 70 still to go.
Yeah, that's one criticism of maybe Angus Callanan. Damien Hayes was loose outside him there. Great hand pass by Joe Canning into him, and he should have flicked it back to him.
Number 17, John Lee. What a sub to bring on. It's now Dr. John Lee, incidentally, and he's become a doctor since the beginning of the championship, and he takes over from Ollie Canning, who's gone off with the injury. And Tipperary need a score, and John O'Brien might provide it, and he does, and he closes the gap tantalisingly. 3:16 to 3:15. John O'Brien's first point, and it's quite a match at Croke Park.
Yeah, and John O'Brien does that brilliantly. Great catch there, and great set up now for a great finish. draw maybe on the card.
Would that all afternoons in sport were like this one. Brilliantly enthralling. Colm Callanan pucking it out while we watch Ollie Canning go off. It's caught there by Andy Smith. Possession now so important, and the use of possession. In steps Kevin Hines. Inside towards Joe Canning. Might reach it. Tipperary sticks going in. Being very competitive, and that's Conor O'Brien who got it away. Putting the pressure on. Callanan in the number 19 jersey. There too, Gearóid Ryan. It's all a bit frantic. Brendan Maher trying to win it. Tip a point behind, looking for an equaliser, looking to try and win the game in normal time. That was a challenge there which the referee has decided is a fair challenge. It was on Larkhor, but it comes back to Gearóid Ryan, and Gearóid Ryan levels the match. A goal and two for Gearóid Ryan. Teams are level for the 9th time. We're now into the 70th minute. It's Galway 3-16. It's Tipperary 3-16. Tremendous. What a contest. This is brilliant fare. Hugely enjoyable for the near 30,000 fans watching it live in Croke Park. And there'll be 3 additional minutes to be played before we could have extra time. Here's Shane McGrath lashing it forward. Can Tipperary find a winner? Out came Colm Callanan, dealt with it well. Out as far as Tony O'Gregan, keeping it moving there towards David Burke. And the St. Thomas's youngster gets it away down towards Joe Canning. Won back again by Tipperary and by Pádraig Maher. Seized on by Ger Farragher in the middle of the park. Standing 65 metres out, but he lashed it in towards an empty hill 16, and the minute it left his stick, he looked away in disgust. Knew it was wide.
Yeah, he scored a couple of great long-range ones, but that was the wrong option there again. You know, plenty of loose forwards inside and a bad wide.
Whoever loses this one is certainly going to feel very, very, very disappointed. Great game to win, horrible game to lose, and the referee is going to end the pile-up here by throwing the ball in, and we've half a minute of the added time, of 3 minutes of added time played already. James Owens, the referee, ready to throw it. Picked up here again. This is Pa Burke, the substitute, looking for a possible winner. Pa Burke looking for a player outside. It's Lark Corbett having to go back, trying to make room, getting it away, getting a shot in and putting it over the bar. Lark Corbett's third. What a point. Now, is it a winner or is it too early to say? 2 minutes still to play.
Yeah, brilliant score there by Lark Corbett. Pa Burke, great work, clubmates, and look back outside, out to Lark Corbett, and a super score.
What's the Galway response? Well, they're watching, and they're watching Conor O'Mahony take it out of the half-back line. Forward once again by Pádraig Maher. Up it goes towards Pa Burke. Leading the attack at this stage, Owen Kelly, trying to make an angle, firing it in, looking for another score. He's put it wide. Minute 30 of the injury time, or added time, has been played. 1 minute and 30 or 25 and counting down still to play. Hang on to your seats. Colm Callanan pucking it out. Farragher under it, tries to take it, but it's taken well by Brendan Maher, who's lost his right helmet. He's won a free, and that will take an enormous amount of pressure off the Tipperary backs. The team beaten in the All-Ireland final last year are ahead by a solitary point in a titanic clash at Croke Park.
That's a brilliant catch there by Brendan Maher. What a game he's had, you know. 21 years of age, middle of the field, scored 2 points and covered every acre of Croke Park today.
Remember, the winner here will get to the semi-final, but it will be a giant step forward. They will be meeting the Munster champions, who are Waterford. The other semi-final has been determined. That'll be Kilkenny against Cork. Brendan Cummins taking it. Tip a point up. Last half minute. Galway need the ball. They need to get it down the field quickly. They get it out to Damien Joyce, but it's a poor clearance. In there to get it was Conor O'Brien, and Conor O'Brien can't hold on to it, and it comes back out towards David Burke once again. Little hand pass. The referee saw that the Galway man was fouled. It's going to be a free to Galway. This may be their last chance. 10 seconds, but of course it's at the discretion of the referee, because we always are told at least, and the at least, those 2 words are so critical in stoppage time. The 3 minutes has now been played. Ger Farragher takes control of this. This is on his own 45-metre line on a very still afternoon, no real breeze around. He's got 2 points already. Having a go, it's going to drop short. They've got to compete for it. They've got to win it. Who's going to get there? Galway have it. There's an opportunity with Latanian. Down he goes. The referee says play on, and the referee is blowing his whistle, and it's all over. And Tipperary have won the quarter-final. They have knocked out Galway in a wonderful, wonderful match at Croke Park. A game which had absolutely everything. Heroes all over the place. And look what it means to Owen Kelly and to the Tipperary men. And look at the sheer despondency on the Galway faces all around. It's Liam Sheedy's afternoon. His men have prevailed. The fans have come here and they've kept the dream alive. But it's over for this year for Joe Canning and for Galway.
Yeah, Ger, what a game of hurling we've seen. We had everything in it. Great scores, great sportsmanship, hard hitting at times. But you know, at the end of the day, I just felt Tipperary maybe deserved the win. They played an awful lot of hurling during the game. Galway kept in it, took their chances well at times, but you know, there were a couple of points up, took a couple of wrong options, and in fairness to Tipperary, they finished strongly. Great point there by Lara Corbett at the very death, and Garrod Ryan to win the game for them. And you know, it's really going to stand for them now. They got a lot of criticism early in the year when they lost to Cork heavily. Slowly worked their way back up. By far their best performance in the championship so far today, and now a great game to look forward to against Waterford in the All-Ireland semi-final, and they'll be hoping to get back to an All-Ireland final where they were so disappointed last year.
You're looking at shattered bodies and shattered dreams for this year, and then the heroism that is among the Tipperary ranks. Pádraig Maher, who grew in stature as the game developed, all of them playing their parts, all of the men who came in as the substitutes as well and contributed handsomely, but there was so little between them as Tipperary advance into the semi-finals of this wonderful championship. There they will be playing Waterford, and of course in the other, as I mentioned earlier, it's Kilkenny v Cork. So two great semi-finals to look forward to. But before we conclude here, let's have a look at the winning point here, which was set up brilliantly there by Pádraig, seeking out Lar Corbett. Lar Corbett, the 29-year-old from Thurles Stars, put Tipperary in front and edged him over the finishing line, and it is absolute misery and despair for goalkeeper Colm Callanan of Kinvara and Galway. And for John McIntyre and the backroom team, well, they played their part in a wonderful game of hurling. They can take great credit, but there's no progress for them in 2010. Instead, it'll be Tip, who hope to build upon the promise of last year when they went so tantalisingly close against Kilkenny in the All-Ireland final. Maybe just for those last 5 or 6 minutes, they could be the All-Ireland champions defending their crown here. Chunky Hayes of Galway, well, it's a disappointing afternoon. They achieved so much, went so close, but in the end, the full-time score here reads Tipperary 3 goals and 17 points, Galway 3 goals and 16.